Hey everybody, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you're doing well today. I've got some pre-shave on already. It did occur to me that perhaps if I rinsed my face with warm water before I put the pre-shave on, the pre-shave might be absorbed or melt on my skin a little bit easier. But it doesn't appear to have made much of a difference. It looks the same as it always does when I put it on, so it was just a thought that I had. I'm going to use my True Fit and Hill Traveller silver tip badger brush today, and I'm going to use some SuperMax Ultimate. It is a warm day today, so I was looking for a shaving soap with a little bit of menthol in it, and I thought this would do nicely. So I've got a little bit on my brush and I'm going to be face lathering with that, and I'm going to be trying to shave. Trying being the operative word. I'm a little nervous about this, guys. I'm going to be trying to shave with my vintage Ronson Razor today. I have a blade in there, and I'll talk more about that as I get on into the shave. But yeah, let's get this soap on my face and start to get a lather. Now I must say, when I notice that my lips tingle a little bit if I get the Parasso white on my lips. Perhaps that's the menthol in the pre-shave, I don't know. Anyway, perhaps that's for another day. Now, as you can see, I'm going to end up with absolutely tons of lather, I think. This SuperMax soap is very nice, very inexpensive and easy to use. It has got quite a unique scent. And I find it a little bit difficult to describe. But it just smells quite fresh and quite clean. Not too much menthol in it, so I'm not a huge fan of menthol, but I do like a little bit now and again, and it's going to be very welcome today. It's one of those sort of cloudy, hot days today, so it'd be good to get this on. Very easy to build a lather with a shaving cream. But I'm just going to take the time to make sure this is well hydrated, because I want the slickness, and I don't know how this razor is going to work. I'm very pleased with my razor. It cleaned up well, although it took some doing. It was filthy. But for £5.55, which is what it cost me, it has actually come up very well. It takes a proprietary blade, and in fact the blade it takes is shaped very much like a vintage Gibbs blade, the Gibbs razor being predominantly sold in France, of course. Now here we are, we've got the roller at the back to strop the blade. Now I've used a half blade in this, so the the blade is only at the front. Normally on the blade that originally came with it, it would come out both sides. And I don't know if you can see, but on here, on the lid there, can you see it's got a number 1 and a number 2? And if I flip it over, it's got a number 3 and a number 4. And I just had the idea that, let me grab a blade from up here. Here we are, I've got an Astra Superior Platinum, and they are printed with number 1 and 2 on that side, there and there, and 3 and 4 on that side. So perhaps the numbering on a blade is a throwback to these style of razors where you would strop the side you just used. You would, let me turn it, you would use this side, turn it over, strop it, shave with the blade on that side, turn it and strop it, and also you can turn it completely around, so you would essentially strop all 4 edges of the blade. I don't know how that would work with a modern blade, but of course the old blade is essentially, on this one, just a piece of stainless steel. Now it says to hold it like that and to start the shave. Now I'm using a half blade in here. I'm using one of these Asco Reds. Now we've started the shave with a vintage razor that is most unusual to look at. So I'm kind of using it, guys, at the same sort of angle that I would a single-edged razor. I'm putting it almost flat against my face and then just moving the handle slightly downwards. There we are, just got the angle. Do you know what, guys? It's not bad at all. It's pretty good, actually. You rinse in the same way. You rinse apparently this leather piece here, although whether it actually is leather, I'm not too sure. It's going to be a bit bulky under the nose, I feel. So we've got no option but to go in sideways. Yeah, a little strange round here, a little bit bulky. Difficult to get that to the proper angle. I think this came out in the 1930s, and there was a Ronson's Limited in the UK and Ronson Incorporated in America. better. Just push the tip of that blade down a bit. A little bit rough on the neck. I don't think I got the angle right at all there. Now I have had to adapt a blade to put in here, and I'll show you what I did at the end. Tried a different couple of things, or a couple of different things even. So the first thing I tried was putting in a chic blade, a chic single edge blade. You can put two in, one on each side of this head cap here. But I found that was quite fiddly, and the chic blades don't quite fit. There's a corner that could just do with shaving off, and it tends to sit, or so I thought when I was looking at it. I thought it sat a bit further forward than the original blade, because it came with an original blade, so I could do a little comparison. Of course, not knowing how aggressive it was, I decided I'd try cutting a DE blade in half. And what you have to do is to just follow that line there at a sort of 45-degree angle there, just to get rid of that corner piece. And that allows the blade to sit in nicely, but it is very fiddly. I had to go with a couple of magnets, a couple of those very small neodymium magnets. I didn't stick them in, I just placed them. There's a little tray under here. I just placed them on the tray, and that worked pretty well. So in the end, what I've gone for is a piece of magnetic tape. Now, we've got a little notepad with, it goes on a refrigerator, and of course it's got a little magnetic strip on the back to stick it to the refrigerator. So glue one side and obviously a magnet on the other. So I have pinched that and cut it up and popped it in here, and I'll show you how that fits in a moment. Because you can cut it to an oblong shape, it allows you to sort of set the blade in position on the magnetic strip, and then take that out and just adjust the blade so that it is actually level. And I'll tell you what, guys, it's a pretty good shave. I'd like to try it with a blade that I'm used to and one that I particularly like. I've tried one of these Ascos as a double-edged blade, and they're not my favourite, but I just happen to have some handy, and that's what I've been playing around with. Getting the right angle, yeah, really makes a difference. So of course here, I'm nowhere near the right angle, but actually it gets further under your nose than I thought it would. quite careful. Because that magnetic strip is a little bit deeper than I would like. So of course it lifts the blade up from the position that it normally sits in. Of course, I suppose, no, ignore that, because the circular part on the half blade sits around the centre post. I was going to say, yeah, there, that centre part sits around the centre post. I was going to say perhaps I could adjust the blade by pushing it further back, but of course you're limited by that centre post, so that's not going to work. I'd like to get to see if I could get some really thin magnetic tape and sort of stick it into this blade tray, or sit it in the blade tray. Now that's a bit too much. There. It's a strange razor because going with the grain, sometimes you get it just right and it felt quite smooth. Now this feels pretty aggressive at the moment. That of course could be the razor, but it also could be the blade playing its part in that. I won't carry on shaving that bit because of course it's making a noise, but that could just be taking my skin off. Well, there we go. I'm going sort of against the grain. I bet they never thought when they made this some fellow would be shaving with it and making a video about it. In 2022, nearly 100 years later. Yeah, I can't do that side. Can't do that side with the grain. Let's try the other hand, see if that makes a difference. Actually it does. But it's still not so comfortable on this side. Push that blade down a bit. Well, I've always wanted to try one of these, guys. I think they look so unusual and so of their time. And actually the design is phenomenal. It says just a wipe like that when you're finished. But I'm going to take the blade out to show you. When you turn it, look at that. Here it's curved to sit just exactly on top of that roller. So you can take this blade out. I'm going to try and do it without cutting my fingers. There we go, I've got that moving. There's a very small, there we are, very small threaded post there. They don't give you much to play with. But there you can see my magnetic tape is just sat in there with the blade magnetised. It's actually stuck with a bit of lather. But there we are, that's what I've used. That's sort of, that's what I was describing. And I drilled a hole in the middle of the magnetic tape. I matched it up so that it would sit exactly in the middle. If I rinse this, give it a wipe with my thumb, you can see that there's a border around the edge of this tray, and it is a little bit deeper in the middle. Now, the blade would just sit in there perfectly, but this magnetic tape, take that off, while it does sit in there, maybe you can see it's just a little bit proud. So the blade is just sitting up a little bit, but very interesting. That is my Ronson Razor for £5.55. These days, of course, it's not the world beater that it maybe was. Perhaps it was never a world beater, but it's certainly very interesting. Excuse the water noise. It's certainly very interesting to shave with these old razors. Now, I've not had a bad shave, but it's not great. Yeah, it's really not great. So perhaps I'll play around with that and see if I can get it just exactly how it was meant to be, and come back and do another shave. And my face is okay, you know, it's all right on my face. Round here it's beautiful, and even here, that's all really good. It's really on my neck where it kind of failed. Well, it was a little bit painful going against the grain there. But not, you know, not a bad shave. So I'm just going to go with my Parasso green again. Really trying to use this up now. There we are. We have a good splash of that, and wow. It's a bit too much there, inhaling that. I think that was pure Parasso I just inhaled. So there we are, guys, that's my shave. It was a little bit, that smarted a bit going on. Thanks for joining me, guys, just for a bit of fun with this. It's really inexpensive razor, quite chuffed with it, to be honest. Take good care, I'll see you around. All the very best. Bye bye.